not only does a safe and effective cognitive enhancer truly exist, it's also one of the most overall health-promoting and performance-enhancing molecules ever discovered. With the ever-increasing demands of modern society, from stress in the workforce to financial difficulties and health concerns, the ability to have a safe and effective cognitive enhancer becomes glaringly important. Most people don't believe this exists. They think of Neuralink and brain chips, which are technologies designed to merge man with machine, or they assume there must be a negative trade-off for using substances to enhance their biological function. But not only does a safe and effective cognitive enhancer truly exist, it's also one of the most overall health-promoting and performance-enhancing molecules ever discovered. This molecule is called Pinealon, a tripeptide with the sequence GLU-ASP-ARG, discovered by Professor Vladimir Kovinson when he was analyzing the peptides present in Cortexin, which is a peptide extract from bovine and porcine brain cortex. It is also naturally present in cerlutin, which is a brain peptide complex from cattle. However, its presence is quite low, as you can see in the chart. Now, if you hear someone call Pinealon the pineal gland regulator, I recommend you run far, far away. People have been pushing this false claim for years because they don't actually understand peptide science. Some have even claimed it regulates subcortical brain regions when in reality, that's what Pinealon, the true pineal gland bioregulator, does. We're living in a time where misinformation is everywhere, but my goal has always been to help people achieve real results. Hi, my name is Brendan Henry, founder of the Peptide Science Institute, and my mission is to get people real results with peptides. That's why I created the first course in the world covering 72 peptides with scientific accuracy, including all of the Kovinson's peptides. It's called Peptide Mastery, and you can find it in the link in the description. Hi, Brendan Henry here. If you're finding this video valuable, I highly recommend grabbing a copy of my book, Peptide Salvation. I have made absolutely sure that Peptide Salvation is the most helpful and accurate book on peptides ever written. I wrote it because over the past year, I've heard guys say, Brendan, your Peptide Mastery course is too expensive, and I don't have $1,000. Well, consider this my gift to you and our gift to anyone who wants to learn about the life-changing magic of peptides, because now you can get what is, in some ways, an upgraded version of my course, Peptide Mastery, at a fraction of the price. But that's not the only reason I wrote this book. I was looking for anyone, who could share accurate, meaningful information about peptides, only to end up completely disappointed. I bought every single peptide book published on Amazon, only to find they were like primitive cave drawings, filled with incorrect science and dangerous misinformation. If you've seen our Science Check articles, you already know how other so-called experts stack up. But I have made absolutely sure Peptide Salvation is scientifically flawless, with more citations to real scientific research than any other peptide book ever published. Now, to be clear, if you want bonuses, advanced protocols, and lifetime free updates, Peptide Mastery is for you. But make no mistake, aside from this, Peptide Salvation is the single best peptide resource available, bar none. Just click the link in the description to get your copy now. But in this video, you'll discover why Pinealon's benefits are so far-reaching that its power and effectiveness cannot be overstated. We are continually discovering more about this powerhouse peptide, with even additional human trials planned by the Peptide Science Institute in collaboration with others. But I will show you the latest scientific advancements on how you can use Pinealon right now to rehabilitate your brain, reduce stress, enhance your cognition, reverse neurodegenerative diseases, improve your physical performance, and overall become a higher functioning human being. Then I will share some incredible stories about how this peptide has been life-changing for me, my mom's dog, and others dealing with Alzheimer's disease. And if you stick around until the end, I'm going to show you how you can get a higher dosed Pinealon capsule than what has been available anywhere else before. This will lead to you getting even better results with this peptide. What's so special about Pinealon is that it not only outperforms Cortexin in brain recovery and cognition in studies directly comparing the two, but it also has benefits that extend from cognitive and physical performance enhancement in healthy individuals to improving Alzheimer's disease, traumatic brain injury, spinal cord injury, managing diabetes, and anti-aging in some preliminary studies. When it comes to brain regeneration, Pinealon has been shown to increase neurite outgrowth and synaptic connectivity by 37% in cultured rat cortex within only 3 days. It outperformed Cortexin in both in vitro and in vivo studies. In vitro, Pinealon demonstrated superior regenerative capabilities as indicated by increasing the expression of Ki67, which is a marker of cellular proliferation, and vimentin, which is a filament protein involved in neural repair. Additionally, Pinealon reduced apoptosis more effectively than Cortexin, as indicated by lower levels of p53 expression. In vivo, Pinealon further validated its efficacy by enabling rats to perform better in the Morris water maze test compared to Cortexin. Consistent with these findings, Professor Vladimir Kovinson has asserted that Pinealon is capable of regenerating neurons in cases of traumatic brain injury where Cortexin and cerebrolysin have not shown comparable results. Pinealon has significant assistance to the brain. It improves the intellectual markers in both young male wrestlers and older men. It improves the spatial orientation, heightens attention, and leads to a 1.5 times increase in learning speed in aging rhesus monkeys. It not only enhances the performance in the Morris water maze test in mice, but even after these mice were induced with experimental diabetes with streptozotocin, they were able to retain this memory better than the control group. So this proves that Pinealon does really well in consolidating learned memories into long-term memories. It reduces the psycho-emotional stress and improves the sleep in stressed-out workers, such as those among lorry drivers. These are people who are rushing to deliver things on time, and they often don't get the best quality sleep, and they're also under a lot of stress. It also improves memory, reduces headache intensity and duration, enhances emotional stability, and increases the quality of sleep in humans who had a traumatic brain injury that wouldn't respond to prior treatments. It improved traumatic brain injury symptoms in 59.4% of patients with cranial trauma, with 31.9% showing satisfactory results and 8.7% experiencing no positive effect. Alpha brain waves were also improved on the EEG, which suggests an improvement in well-being. Alpha waves are associated with a more calm state, so it could help with reducing stress, which is exactly what we saw in the study. It protected rat offspring from prenatal hyperhomocystinemia and prenatal hypoxia. In hypobaric hypoxia, it allowed them to remain conscious for twice as long as the control group, which you could see in this chart. Accelerated traumatic brain injury recovery in rats, doubling learning capacity within 96 hours, and fully restoring function by day 14. Treated rats showed superior motor coordination, muscle tone, and reflex learning, holding 2 times longer on the rotorod than controls. For those who don't know, the rotorod is a spinning rod which speeds up as the test goes on, and mice eventually fall off this rod. Well, in these mice who had the brain injury and were given Pinealon, they were able to hold on for 2 times longer compared to the control group that didn't receive Pinealon. This is a very significant result. It improved spinal cord neuron regeneration in mice with severe spinal cord compression injury. And by the way, regarding spinal cord repair, a couple years ago my mom's dog was chasing a squirrel and then suddenly became paralyzed. It just fell down and then couldn't get up or walk. And it's one of those breeds called a Catahoula, which has a longer spine than some other dogs, which makes it more prone to spinal cord injury. She took it to the vet, and they diagnosed herniated discs which were pressing on the nerve, and it caused severe nerve damage. The vet didn't even expect it to ever walk again because it wasn't even responding to pain signals in either of its feet. It literally lost all sensation. They wanted to put it down, but my mom refused. So I suggested we try dosing it with Pinealon, and within 1 month, it was walking on its own. It was incredible. And mechanistically, it appears to help with spinal cord regeneration by downregulating caspase-3 activity, which helps prevent nerve cell death after injury. Additionally, irisin, which is upregulated by Pinealon, helps to protect against motor dysfunction following spinal cord injury. And a couple years ago, I also personally experienced 2 herniated discs at L4-L5 and L5-S1, which caused me severe pain. So I decided to take Pinealon myself, and I was amazed at how my nerve pain got reduced. This is because herniated discs can release pro-inflammatory cytokines, which sensitize the nerve root and cause pain. And Pinealon was able to downregulate some inflammatory cytokines, presumably through irisin and PPAR activation. Pinealon also improved organic brain syndrome, which is a condition which manifests as memory loss, confusion, impaired thinking, emotional disturbances, personality changes, and it can also occur from trauma, infection, disease, or some degenerative conditions. It extended isolated crayfish neurons' lifespan by 15% versus the control group. It accelerated neuron and myelin regeneration, preserving synapses and dendritic spines. Treated rats showed increased ribosomes, polyribosomes, and repair activity, while controls had severe neuron degeneration, ischemia, and myelin destruction. It reduced lipid peroxidation in hypoxic rats by 50%, suppressed oxidative stress, and protected brain neurons from damage. It improved osmotic hemolysis in culture, which enhanced red blood cell membrane stability, reduced lipoprotein oxidation, and reduced dead neurons in culture. Now, for those who don't know, the osmotic hemolysis is basically the ability for red blood cells to change their shape in order to pass through narrow openings in blood vessels. Now, Pinealon is a highly neuroprotective peptide, as we can clearly see, with its efficacy demonstrated both in vitro and in vivo. In vitro studies revealed that Pinealon greatly prevented cellular death when brain cells were exposed to hydrogen peroxide in its presence. Furthermore, it protected NMDA receptors from high homocysteine-induced toxicity, which surpassed the efficacy of carnosine at a much lower concentration. Pinealon is also patented for its ability to regenerate neurons, improve spinal cord injury in rodent models as we discussed, and enhanced motor coordination. But what about neurodegenerative diseases outside of traumatic brain injury? Well, Pinealon has demonstrated remarkable potential in addressing neurodegenerative conditions such as Alzheimer's disease. In an amyloid synaptotoxicity Alzheimer's disease model, Pinealon completely reversed damage to mushroom spines and hippocampal cultures treated with amyloid beta 42. These benefits extend in vivo, as seen in 5XFAD mice. These are transgenic mice, which are mutated to develop Alzheimer's disease at an accelerated rate, and they exhibited impaired long-term potentiation starting at 4 months of age. A 1-month treatment with Pinealon partially restored LTP in this case. Pinealon also increased dendritic spine density by 14% in the CA1 region of the hippocampus and increased mushroom spine density by 25% in male mice, but it did not restore mushroom spines in female mice. I'm not sure about this gender discrepancy here. The chart below shows some of the effects seen in the study. Pinealon also fully restored damage to dendritic spines and medium spiny neurons in an in vitro model of Huntington's disease, and improved locomotion and movement accuracy in a flying insect model of Parkinson's disease. I would also like to mention that some people have seen results in their parents with Alzheimer's disease just from Pinealon alone. However, in my Peptide Mastery course, I provide a precision peptide protocol which is specifically designed to combat Alzheimer's disease in the most effective way possible. We also offer health and performance transformation programs. Just check the links in the description. Now, when it comes to improving performance via peptides, Pinealon shows great promise for the athlete. Its cognitive enhancing effects carry over to sports and activities that demand rapid decision-making and reaction speed, and this is supported by studies showcasing Pinealon's ability to enhance reaction speed and overall sports performance, especially when combined with Visugen. This research was conducted by an author who holds the Guinness World Record in high-altitude river rafting. Additional performance benefits of Pinealon include its ability to increase athletes' overall performance and breath-holding time while decreasing markers of biological aging. You can see in the chart here that Pinealon had a profound effect on the physical working capacity of sportsmen. With the control group, there was a large drop-off in performance after training, but with Pinealon, the performance after training almost matched the performance before training, meaning that they were able to maintain performance almost entirely. It also reduced the heart rate in trained athletes by 10 to 12 beats per minute while maintaining the same power output during activity. It increased the maximum treadmill runtime in rats by 254% within 10 days, which surpassed the Soviet antihypoxant drug known as Bemetil. This was at a dosage of 75 micrograms per kilogram, which in mice converts to about 150 micrograms per kilogram, and in humans approximately 851 micrograms for a 70 kilogram human. Pinealon achieves its performance-enhancing effects through several interconnected mechanisms. It activates irisin, PPARA, and PPARG, which enhance the production of adiponectin and its receptors. This theoretically leads to an increase in mots-c, which is a mitochondrial-derived peptide. mots-c is known to boost ACAR and AMPK and boost PGC1A, increasing mitochondrial biogenesis, and NRF1, further promoting ATP production, which provides metabolic support and is shown to reduce non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, improve blood sugar regulation, and may even benefit chronic fatigue. Now, PPARA and irisin also enhance glucose utilization, improve insulin sensitivity, and promote overall metabolic health. Additionally, Pinealon directly upregulates glutathione peroxidase through its activation of the GPX1 gene. This favors enhanced mitochondrial efficiency. Pinealon is also a significant geroprotector, as evidenced by its ability to reduce biological age in healthy middle-aged and elderly individuals. A short 20-day course of 2 capsules per day, which equals 200 micrograms, resulted in an average biological age reversal of 3.9 years. Additionally, Pinealon's ability to protect against ROS and to enhance metabolic health through mechanisms such as increased irisin, PPARA, and G suggests it would be beneficial for health and longevity. If Pinealon does indeed increase endogenous mots-c levels, which is supported by its mechanisms, it may further support lifespan extension, as a polymorphism in the mitochondrial genome which encodes mots-c has been linked to centenarian status in a Japanese population. Now, Pinealon activates a lot of different genes, and we probably don't even know all of the genes which it activates, but we do know GDF11, FKBP1B, PPARA, PPARG, HSPA1A, FNDC5, CASP3, TPH1, NES, GAP43, APOE, SOD2, and GDX1. But let's discuss some of the most critical ones responsible for Pinealon's neuroprotective, metabolic, and regenerative, as well as anti-aging properties. First, we have FKBP1B. This has been shown to reverse age-related intracellular calcium dysregulation and improve cognitive and memory impairment in aging rats. So basically what happens as you age is your neurons are less efficient at synaptic transmission, and part of this can be due to the dysregulated or downregulated intracellular calcium. So restoring that is one way to improve synaptic transmission. Additionally, FKBP1B has also been demonstrated to restore the expression of 872 out of 876 genes in the hippocampus of mice, which shifts their expression in a direction opposite to that associated with aging. These genes are involved in structural categories such as the cytoskeleton, membrane channels, and extracellular regions. PPARA and G upregulation by Pinealon has been demonstrated to improve the performance of wrestlers. These genes are strongly associated with athletic performance, with PPARG in particular being a promising target for benefiting spinal cord injury. Polymorphisms in the PPAR gene, especially those associated with the G allele, which result in decreased gene function, have also been linked to reduced hand grip strength and an increased risk of breast cancer and Alzheimer's disease. Additionally, PPARA plays a critical role in regulating autophagy and clearing amyloid beta plaques. It achieves this by increasing the activity of microglia and astrocytes around the plaques and enhancing autophagosome formation. PPARA also regulates cholinergic-driven activity of midbrain dopamine through a mechanism involving the nicotinic A7 receptors. HSPA1A, or HSP70, is heat shock protein 70, and it's increased by approximately 3 times in humans who take Pinealon, though the specific dosage used in the study was not disclosed. Heat shock protein 70 is associated with enhanced learning, as demonstrated in mice undergoing the Morris water maze. Its benefits extend to improving insulin sensitivity and reducing lipid accumulation, including within the brain. It has demonstrated efficacy in improving wound healing in vivo, and it's essential for promoting proper androgen receptor function, preventing muscular dystrophy, and enhancing muscle hypertrophy. It also supports spermatogenesis. Now, one of its critical roles is preventing the aggregation of misfolded proteins, such as those implicated in Alzheimer's disease, Huntington's disease, and Parkinson's disease. This effect may be partially mediated by the suppression of CDK5, which also confers resistance to oxidative stress and increases SIRT1. Interestingly, lower levels of HSP70 are associated with ADHD in children, suggesting that its upregulation by Pinealon could potentially benefit conditions like ADHD, although there are no studies to confirm this with Pinealon. Irisin acts as a positive regulator of muscle growth. It restores the nucleus pulposus cells in mice and prevents intervertebral disc degeneration and protects against motor dysfunction in rats with spinal cord injuries. This might be how Pinealon helped with spinal cord injuries in mice. And irisin is also associated with increased telomerase activity, which extends the Hayflick limit, and upregulates SIRT1. Notably, SIRT1 selectively activates caspases in cancer cells without affecting healthy cells. This means that it helps to kill cancer cells selectively. Furthermore, irisin stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis and mitophagy. It prevents mitochondrial damage in Parkinson's disease and provides robust antioxidant effects and reduces ferroapoptosis in hypoxic conditions, so it helps prevent your red blood cells from bursting in hypoxia. COM1 is another gene which Pinealon increases, and this codes for calmodulin, Calmodulin can bind to certain GI proteins in the dopamine D2 receptor in the brain and increase its signaling through a C-AMP mechanism, which leads to an increase in D2 signaling. So, Pinealon may have some slight dopaminergic effects, and I did see this confirmed in one of the animal studies in the past. However, this source is no longer available online, and I unfortunately don't have any images saved from it. Pinealon binds within the APOE gene, which is involved in Alzheimer's disease. Now, we do precision genomic risk prevention and enhancement services for our clients, and one of the genes we check is APOE. There are three main variants, APOE2, APOE3, and APOE4, with 2 being the lowest risk, 3 being about neutral, and 4 being highest risk. Now, APOE2 results in a high degree of function, and APOE4 less function. As mentioned, polymorphisms in this gene, especially the APOE4 variant, whether you're heterozygous for it or homozygous, meaning you either have 1 or 2 copies of it, can be associated with up to a 12 times increased risk of Alzheimer's disease due to the reduced gene activity. By activating APOE, Pinealon can help counteract this reduced activity, which mitigates the effects of APOE4-related dysfunction. And this aligns with Pinealon's demonstrated ability to benefit Alzheimer's disease in vivo. The GDX1 gene, which is glutathione peroxidase 1, and SOD, which is superoxide dismutase, are antioxidant genes which Pinealon also increases, and these genes neutralize oxidative stress and help maintain cellular health. Additionally, Pinealon's activation of ERK1/2 pathway can further support its antioxidant capabilities. This influences cellular redox balance by activating NRF2, which is a powerful antioxidant pathway. Most human studies on Pinealon have used capsules dosed at 100 micrograms each, with a minimum effective dose of 200 micrograms daily. Higher dosages, such as 400 micrograms daily, have also been used with better results. Importantly, though, if you're going to use these Pinealon capsules, they must be taken on an empty stomach to maximize the absorption potential via the Pept and Lat transporters. This assures that the transporters have minimal competition from dietary proteins. It will also enhance the efficacy if you consume these peptides with a full glass of water, as to dilute the stomach acid and reduce the breakdown of the peptide before it can be uptaken. In rats, 75 micrograms per kilogram was used in a treadmill test, where it outperformed Bemethyl. This equates to a human equivalent dose of about 12.16 micrograms per kilogram, or 851.2 micrograms for a 70 kilogram human. Additionally, Pinealon has been used in traumatic brain injury studies in humans at 10 micrograms per kilogram and 100 micrograms per kilogram, with both showing positive results, though the higher dose produced better outcomes. In the Alzheimer's disease study in rodents, Pinealon was administered intranasally at a human equivalent dosage of about 2 milligrams. Therefore, for a 70 kilogram human, we are looking at a large range between 200 micrograms to 7 milligrams. Toxicology studies in pigs found no adverse effects on organs or blood parameters, even at doses exceeding the therapeutic range by 1,000 times when administered daily for 6 months via injection. However, in my experience working with clients and testers, dosages above the top half of the range may occasionally lead to sleepiness, lower blood glucose levels, or mood disturbances. In fact, I know one person who has a constant glucose monitor because he has type 1 diabetes, and he was using Pinealon, and it notably lowered his blood glucose levels. This can be explained from the PPARA and G genes as well as irisin, which is expressed by Pinealon. Therefore, it is my personal recommendation that you stick with the first half of the range, which would be 200 micrograms to 3.5 milligrams for a 70 kilogram human. I would never go above that. Now, all human equivalent dosages were calculated with this formula, which you can see on screen now. In conclusion, Pinealon is a powerful peptide that shows promising results for cognition and neurodegenerative diseases, including traumatic brain injury, where it has demonstrated actual neuron regeneration, including the restoration of spines and synapses. It also showed significant benefits in spinal cord injury in rodent models, enhancing muscle tone and coordination. Pinealon additionally improves physical performance, including endurance and heart rate power curves in human studies, while also reducing some aspects of biological aging. Its mechanisms support the pathway through which endogenous mots-c, a mitochondrial-derived peptide linked to longevity in the Japanese population, would increase in synthesis. Additionally, Pinealon has been shown to improve psycho-emotional well-being in workers with high-stress jobs, making it an interesting candidate as an antidepressant. These wide-ranging benefits, combined with a strong safety profile and no documented toxicities, make Pinealon a promising peptide for promoting longevity, cognitive function, and overall health. Now, if you want to learn more about peptides, just check the link in the description or go to the Peptide Science Institute. This has been Brendan Henry, the world's leading expert in peptide science, and thank you for watching.